a real tough one, John. Probably the Svensk Rök Ek.
Yeah, excellent. That's a good one. I think I've got that behind my shelf somewhere. So yeah, we might bring that one out later.
Good man.
And then move on to Richard. Whereabouts are you?
Hello. A small town called Wokingham near Reading, West London.
I think you've just joined us in Mackmyra as well, haven't you?
I joined 4 weeks ago or so now.
4 weeks ago, excellent. And working as a brand ambassador? Doing tastings?
That's it, brand ambassador. Hoping to go around. I think we're going to be doing more of these over the coming weeks, but I'm glad that we can get something to adjust and still be able to get out there and talk to people.
Yeah. Excellent. And also, we have Matt as well with us tonight.
Hi,
whereabouts are you?
Well, John, I'm Matt. I'm based in Wimbledon South, close to the Northern Line. So I'm in London. I've been a brand ambassador for about almost a year and 2 months with you guys. So I think I took over from you before you moved over to Italy, John.
Yeah.
For touching on my favorite Mackmyra whiskey, it's a bit of a toss-up in the moments range. I probably would say the Prestige, the Champagne Cask Finish by Flip Pinoy. It's probably my favorite out of the whole range so far that we've had.
Yeah, it's lucky we're going to get onto my favourite one tonight as we go through, which most people who've met me know which one exactly that one is. But the plan for us tonight, maybe we'll see. So, as what our plans for tonight is this is our very first tasting that we're doing. We're going to be starting to do these with the core range, which is our Mack by Mackmyra, Brukswhisky, Svensk Ek, and then onto Svensk Rök. And they're the four real core ones that we have. We're going to be starting to do a tasting pack so people can join us on these events and actually have a dram with us, go through the tasting with us and enjoy it. Ask some questions on chat as we go and really just have some fun with this. So I'm going to just make a start and say, let us begin.
Before you jump ahead, do you have the classic set with you? We can show people what they've kind of been
Let me see if I can grab that. If someone wants to just pick up the bottle of Mack and just introduce that, I'm just going to turn around and grab this one.
There you go, guys.
Excellent.
Artisanal Mack. I think you've all got them. Let's go, boys. Yeah, 4 bottles are there. Oh, there we go. All right, so our Mack basically we brought out is a 3-year-old. It's an American oak finish, and it's an artisanal that we did, mainly aimed at the on-consumption bar industry in Sweden, and it did really, really well.
That's not that one.
What we decided is we decided to bring it over and into the market, and it's a relatively easy drinking day-to-day whiskey. A nice little American oak finish to it, so lots of hints of vanilla, a little bit of pear. Herbal notes as well, but Shane, what do you pick up when you have this whiskey?
I think it's a great whiskey, Matt. It's a 3-year-old. It's 40% ABV. You can drink it as a bourbon or as a straight up whiskey. It's got lots of character to it. It's a lovely color. It's got great nose on it. The bottle packaging is great, so used in on consumption. So in the speed rail, it's ideal for that. It's priced right in retail. It's at entry level. And basically, it's just such an elegant 3-year-old whiskey for around early £30 mark. It's an absolute winner. And I recommend anyone who's not tried it to really get out there and try it. It's a superb whiskey.
Do you think it would go well in cocktails and that kind of thing?
Well, it's funny you should ask that. We took over a bar today and we did some cocktails with it today, and the resounding acknowledgement for the brand as a brand for cocktails. And to be drunk on its own. So, yeah, it has a dual functionality.
Lovely. And Rich, what do you think about it? Paul, do you pick up any notes that you enjoy aftertaste-wise?
I think I get lots of banana that you find. So apple, pear, banana seem to be a theme throughout the range, especially the core range. But then lots of vanilla and caramel, the sort of thing you'd expect to have from virgin American oak being in. So Shane mentioned bourbon and things. It's like a single malt with a bourbon twist, if you will, because of the oak that it's been aged in. And for me, that sweetness, I like that sweetness. I like a robust, smoky whiskey more often than not. But if I can have a whiskey that's just got a few flavours, a bit of complexity about it, and especially at 3 years old, this has got a lot going on. I like this one.
Good. John, do you have those samples for the crowds to have a look at to see if they want to get online with us next week and hopefully have a tasting of their own online with us?
There's actually a link on the stream that we've got going out. I can't actually show you the link that we've got. Unfortunately, I don't have my tasting set with me at the moment. So
I do. Do you want me to grab mine?
Yeah, you grab that one. I'm just going to talk a second. So missed the start of what you guys said. But favourite for mine, just starting at whiskey festivals and things. This is one that we usually warm people up with. This is where we begin it. It really shows off kind of the innovation side. This one comes from our Gravity Distillery, which is probably one of the world's most energy efficient distilleries in the world. Everything's turned on its side. There we go. We've got a lovely picture of it. Beautiful distillery. The architecture on it is amazing. And this one really shows off kind of the innovation side and everything that Mackmyra is. And it's kind of the modern end of our story, which we're going to get onto in a bit. This one, festivals, I love it. As you say, Richard, it has that kind of robustness to it. I think people are expecting something a bit more lighter on our first ones and things. For me, it's always about the banana with this one. It has a real, that kind of, the old banana foam sweets is the flavour that I get on the nose. 40%
foam sweets, banana foam sweets.
Yeah.
That's exactly what yeah.
Like John, like how does that actually, like how does that flavor come into play, especially throughout our whiskey ranges? Is that got something to do with the malt itself that we use when we distill it? Does that carry through from white spirit through the range? We get that banana taste to it and vanilla taste?
I wouldn't say the banana doesn't stay on all the way. I think some people do pick that up in Brooks as well, which we'll be doing as the next one.
Yeah,
it is. I wouldn't say it's a predominant character of ones that we have, but it's definitely there as in Brooks and Mack. I think we're more known for kind of the floral notes. Yeah. If you try, we do Vithund, which is our new make spirit. You can get cut down to 40%, so it's not the 68% that comes off the still, because that's would blow your head off. But that one, you really get the floral notes that come across on that.
Just a quick Corona question. Do you think I could use the Vithund for a hand sanitizer?
40%, so no, it has to be above 63, but we can get you some proper new make, I'm sure. 68%. But really, it would be a bit of a shame to have that.
Well, yeah, desperate times call for desperate measures, but at least I got all the bottles of whiskey I had at home to keep me company, so not too bad. Not too bad.
Excellent.
Your hands would smell very nice at the end of it as well.
Yeah, hope you find someone out there with a whiskey taste. Shane, have you got that sample for us, pal?
I do have it here. It's guys, the packaging is superb. I hope you can all see it. So we have the Mack, the Svensk Ek, the Svensk Rök, and the Bruks in there. The lid comes off, which makes it really nice and easy to use. You can see inside. I hope you can see inside. I'll hold those bottles down. It's really packaged.
How many CLs is it, Janet?
These are 50 CLs. I mean, 5 CL.
I always do that one. It's the European version.
Correct.
Yeah. 50 mil.
Yeah, correct. It's really packed really nicely, and it gives a bit of an explanation about the distillery and each of the different whiskies we have in the pack is explained on the side, so you get a little bit of history about them. So that's essentially what we're going to be sending out, John. Am I correct?
Yeah, so the pack we're doing it's £23.90, and it's at mackmyra.co.uk, which should be a link in the bottom. But for the tasting packs, we're also going to be giving people a lovely Mackmyra glass. And so I think you guys have some of them there, which are the lovely tasting glasses. These are anniversary ones. The other ones actually say Mackmyra on them, just for full disclosure of that. And there's also an extra free gift in there as well, which you have to go off and purchase to actually receive. And that's a bit of a surprise. Nice. So 4 whiskies, tasting glass to join us, and the free gift, and also join us on any of these other tastings that we're going to be doing. Guys, are you seeing anything coming up in chat? Because I can't actually see it on my one. It's
I've got public chat open at the moment, nothing coming through.
No. So I'm not sure if people are putting anything through on chat, but I might just have a quick look at that while we move on to the next one, just to find out and make sure everything is ticking over. First one, so we might have some issues and things, but I'll see what's happening. So yeah, but just to finish off on Mac, in some ways, as I always say, it's kind of a strange one to start on, but at 40% ABV, it seems the obvious place to start. It is the entry into our brand.
And one of the most versatile whiskeys we have.
Yes, it is. Full disclosure, this one, we do add colouring to it. So we actually put that on the label. Not many places in the UK and distilleries do that. But for the price point we were aiming for, that was something which we had to consider. So it is on there. But yeah, it's lovely whiskey.
Is that, John, is that the only one in our range that does have colouring? Or are there any others?
That is it. Only one. We don't do any chill filtration with anything else either. That's it. It's European, so they have to actually put it on the label and present it. And you know, they didn't do any other decisions when they brought it to the UK market where that's optional.
Yeah. And here's something really interesting about us selling on this. In Selfridges, of the range that's listed, this is our top seller in the range that is listed at Selfridges. So it speaks volumes for the, you know, once people try it, they absolutely love it. So try it, guys.
Well, I think with most of our whiskies in our entire portfolio, I think there is definitely something that's going to tickle someone's fancy down the line, whether you're an avid whiskey drinker or just a beginner.
Yeah.
Right. I agree. Yeah.
That's nice. That's my first whiskey. I usually have one to warm up, but first one, that's helped with a bit of the jitters that have been taking place. Let's be honest here and break the ice a little. This is a little nerve-wracking for all of us, so it's a good.
So it's just a good, it's a good nerve calmer. It's good nerve calmer.
Joan, what we haven't told everybody is a little bit of history about Mackmyra. Is it not an idea before we move on to maybe share some insight into Mackmyra?
I think we should do that, but probably should we do on books, because books really is the one which explains everything about that.
Absolutely.
The box has the whole history on it in any case. So I mean, we can maybe just touch on the box itself, because I mean, most of our boxes that we do are quite ornate, and there's some kind of history or something to describe what's going on with the bottle of whiskey that show about you and box and drink.
This is also known as our
breakfast whiskey. You
want to start the day right, don't you?
Oh, well, like let's not endorse that. I mean, like, we don't want to create too many alcoholics, but yeah, it's a great whiskey. It's 41.6 ABV. It's really nice. It's part of the core range that we have, guys, as we all four of us know. But for you guys out there, this is basically our 95.5 whiskey rated bottle in the Whiskey Bible. That's a hell of a great whiskey for what it is.
Murray's Whiskey Bible.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. So, Shane, I don't know if you want to maybe touch on some of the history with the distillery, and then we can start folding that into the Bruks whiskey and how we went about doing it.
Thanks, Matt. Yeah, what I'd like to just also bring to everyone's attention is the difference in the bottles to start off with. So, Mack is the only one in the whiskey range that doesn't come in a gift pack, whereas everything else in the range comes in this style bottle. And I'm not sure if you can see, but there's dimples in the bottom of the bottle here. There's 8 of them, which is quite important. I'll come back to that in a minute. Our logo, top and bottom, on every single bottle in the range, and it comes in a gift box, which is really nice. The bottle has also got a lot of interesting information on it. It's kind of the history of Mackmyra and how it all started. So I'll touch on it. John, can I go ahead and just talk about it briefly, how it all came about?
I am just checking the stream just to make sure everything's ticking over. So if that'll be perfect. I'm not ignoring you. I'm just ticking over and making sure that we're doing this.
It makes a change. Thanks, John.
I know.
So Mackmyra, very interesting story, guys. There was 8 varsity friends, male and female, who went to university together, and they used to get together every year at a ski lodge up in north of Sweden, and everyone would take a bottle of whiskey along, and they would sit down and drink whiskey until their heart's content. And in 1998, while they were drinking their whiskey, they realized that there was no whiskey coming out of Sweden. So they thought they'd investigate it and see why not. They spent a year kind of visiting distilleries, finding out more about whiskey, and in 1999, they were granted a license to produce whiskey in Sweden. Now, if anybody knows anything about Swedish history, you'll understand that that was quite a big step for the Swedish government to grant a liquor license, well, a distiller license, to a company like Mackmyra to start producing whiskey. All liquor is controlled by the government, and we were the first distillery to be licensed in Sweden.
When was that license effectively put into place? 1999?
1999, yeah.
98.
98 was when they all got together. 99 was effectively gone. So they had no idea how to make whiskey. So they went about finding a venue, and they found an old iron mill that had been converted into a power plant. And then they managed to get their hands on it at Mackmyra Brook, hence the name Mackmyra, and the first bottle Brooks. And they started about converting it. If you ever get the chance to go to the distillery, please go and visit it. It's postcard beautiful. It really is. It's a historical building. It's right next to a brook. It's unbelievable to visit.
Whereabouts in Sweden actually is Mackmyra, Shane? And is Mackmyra the town itself that's named after? Obviously, I mean we all know that. But how far north of Stockholm is it around about? I mean, you've been there. I haven't.
So the new distillery is in an area called Gävle, which is 150 kilometers north of Sweden, and about 15 kilometers. Sorry.
North of Stockholm. Sorry.
Stockholm. And about 15 kilometers from the old distillery. They set about making whiskey, and of course, this is of years development. They have now produced some of the world's best whiskies. Here's one in my hand, a 5-year-old single malt. And the indentions on the bottle of the bottle are said to be the thumbprints of the 8 founders. And it's found on every single bottle that we produce. The logo is found on the distillery door. It's the tie that we used for struts to hold the building in place. You'll see them on a lot of buildings around in the UK. They have a cross on it. It's basically to stop the strut moving around in the building. And that became our logo. So very functional, very useful. Mackmyra is the area where we got the first distillery, hence the name Mackmyra. And that's a little history about Mackmyra.
I always used to love that bit doing tastings with Shane, because it was always just, I can sit there and enjoy a whiskey now. So thank you, as always, for doing that one. That's really great. Guys, I just wanted to let you know everything is live. We're just not seeing the chat, unfortunately. So I've had to put it up as a backup on my laptop, just to the side. I think we're also going to have Gareth on tonight, who couldn't quite make it on the stream. So he might be able to actually go over onto the chat on YouTube and answer some questions of things coming in. But no, there's a guy called Magnus watching. He wants us to know that the meaning of Mack in Old Swedish is mosquito, is where it comes from, which was one of the ones I always like to. You can see, I'm not sure if I can get this on my camera, but there's little, it's better on the box actually.
Are they mosquitoes or mickeys or mage flies?
It is a bit like a midgie.
Yeah, it's like a midge.
Yeah, and it also has links with ants and things like that. So someone's putting out good storytelling there, Shane, is the comment.
Thank you very much.
Usually we would have them so we can put them on our screen here and share them with people and do that. We'll have to look into exactly what's gone on there. Guys, we do have Gareth on chat, so he's going to ask us some questions and things like that as we go through. But yes, all going really well. It's just the chat we just need to look at and things. But I think we should press on with that. We haven't really done a little noting of this one yet, have we?
Sorry, press on. Can I ask you a question? So you look at the midges and you're looking at the bottle. Is that what all of these orange little flies and midges are?
That's correct.
I've always looked at that and wondered what it was. So that's very good to know. And especially if it's linked to Mack, the name itself.
Yeah.
I mean, even on the back of the bottle itself, you've got the original 100-liter pot still that the guys actually fabricated in the beginning when we started Mackmyra in 1999. So I mean, that kind of has some of the history as well as the gravity-fed distillery. So I mean, it's pretty cool how all the boxes and each bottle tells a story of Mackmyra in the bottle itself. So it's actually, I like how we market our boxes. It's attractive. I mean, really, it's due to really good, attractive whiskey that tastes amazing. I find it hard to actually figure which one out in the core range that I enjoy the most. But let's crack on and
It's an easy question.
What? I don't know. We all know where your favorite lies. We all know where your
favorite
lies. Come on.
The trouble is that I've just glanced at the stream and I've just realised how, because we're coming like this, we kind of got a bit of a Brady Bunch thing going where we can actually look at each other. And now I just reached the point of just like I should look down when I speak to you and then just across and look
across. Well, this is going great. In any case, so like guys, the Brooks whiskey. I mean, probably one of my favorite whiskeys to have a chat to at people and events. It's always captivating. I think the interest, especially on the nose when they first smell it, when clients and prospects and whiskey lovers come through to the stands at Mackmyra, and actually when we describe it as a banana toffee sort of butterscotch, I think that captivates a lot of whiskey drinkers. It's something different, and I definitely think the banana element to the nose itself and the toffee taste, once you have a sip of it, I think that's basically what captivates people and attracts a lot of clientele to Mackmyra itself in the beginning. As we earlier on discussed, I mean, the Whiskey Bible 95.5 rating. It's an exceptional 5-year-old whiskey, I think, and most people, I think, will agree who come and have a chat to us. I definitely want to one day go off to Mackmyra itself to actually go take a look and maybe purchase a bottle of Brooks from the Brooks Distillery or from the gravity-fed distillery. I think I definitely want to on my shelf one day.
You can't buy a bottle, unfortunately.
No.
Swedish law. No.
Oh.
It's, so you'll have to find other ways to do that, unfortunately.
That's a pity.
Well, you could just get a glass.
Take a bottle with you. And try and have a drink in the area.
Yeah, well, maybe on top of the bar, maybe on top of at the bar, at the top of the gravity-fed distillery overlooking the forest. That might be a good idea.
Top of the gravity bar or the mountain top bar that's up the road. Ski bar. Yeah.
I think it's a bit more than up the road, but yes.
Up the road.
Well, I'll leave it to the experts.
Up the mountain.
We'll be. As future ones go, we're going to be having pictures and videos on this, so I'll be able to put some of these images up. Today, we're keeping it nice and straightforward and just chatting amongst ourselves. I might try and add a picture in a bit just to make sure everything's working. But
guys, this is an exceptional whiskey. This is such an entry level for people coming into whiskey, to people who never drunk whiskey before. It's so soft, it's elegant, it encompasses everything that is Swedish. I mean, everything we use is Swedish. So the peat, the barley, the water, the casks, the malt is all Swedish. I mean, this is a superb 5-year-old whiskey. And most people, when they taste it, can't believe that it's Swedish. It's lovely.
I think the fact that all the ingredients are from Sweden is a big thing as well. And I believe that most of them, if not all, from within, was it 75 kilometers or 75 miles from the distillery as well?
Yeah, 75 kilometers, yeah.
75 kilometers, yeah. So I think in this day and age, that you can argue that quite easily as being like local. If I mean, at least it's Swedish as well. So we're not shipping out for barley from other countries or from grain from other countries. It's all from the place where the distillery is, which spirit of place.
And the thing is, Rich, you know, you hear about all the Scottish distilleries buying in cultivated yeast. When we run out of yeast at the distillery, we send someone on a bicycle into Gävle, into town, to go and buy yeast to bring back to the distillery to help with production. So, you know, we really are local, in terms of what we're using.
Yeah. As soon as you say bicycle, but as soon as you say bicycle, you have to be local to go fetch something on a bicycle from somewhere.
Or eco-friendly.
Very
eco-friendly and fit or local.
Yeah, correct. But guys, the aromatic profile that builds up the whole Mackmyra Brooks whiskey itself. I mean, what's the first fill? Are we talking about big liters, 200 cask liters of what exactly? Bourbon casks? Do we use that? What else do we use? 100 liters? And what are the other two that we use? Sherry and ex-bourbon casks, right?
Yeah, it's the way I always describe it is it's a little bit of everything that we do. It is Mackmyra in a glass, really. Everything is all married together perfectly. It does, I believe, have a touch of peat in there, but just enough just to give it a little bit of edge to it. But all different casks that we have. That's another thing which we can go into on our future ones of actually talking about the casks, and of course our cask program that we do, where you can purchase your very own 30-litre cask, either on the reserve program, where you get to lay your 30-litre cask down, name your bottle, name the plaque. You can even go to the distillery and fill that by yourself and enjoy a lovely day out doing that. And then in 3 to 5 years or so, you're going to end up with your very own whiskey, about 48 bottles to yourself, all your own and everything. Or for the people that are a little, they want their whiskey now, we do a ready cask program where you can actually purchase casks which we've already matured, but you get to buy the whole 30-litre casks. And they're both available. We work through retailers with this, and we work through on our own website. And we do some exciting things occasionally. We put out future episodes and stuff, things like, cloud refinished ones. And I think they've just in Sweden looked at doing a Calvados finish as well.
Cognac.
So lots of different cognac. Calvados last year.
We've done a Calvados.
Too many C's. Yes. But I digress.
Yes, you do.
I do. Anything more to say on Brooks while we're here?
Just literally a day-to-day go-to whiskey. I think at the end of the day that I think it could be anyone's daily whiskey that they want, if they're looking for something really good. But as Shane touched on, I think for an entry-level person coming into whiskey and finding a love for whiskey for the first time, I think it's definitely a 5-year-old they need to take a look at getting into. But even if you're a hardcore connoisseur of whiskey, definitely should add this to your daily bottle of consumption, or one of your options for your daily whiskey.
And as a breakfast whiskey, it's such a lovely way.
Have you tried it with cornflakes yet? It tastes like crap.
It's great.
Ruins the cornflakes.
I mean, I don't know. I'm just saying, as I heard from a friend, I wouldn't really know. But any case. Rich, what captivated you in the beginning? Because I remember we first met each other in Reading at a whiskey festival. I mean, out of the core range, which got to you first? Did you enjoy the Mack, the Brook whiskey itself?
Yeah, it was two. I think I didn't mention my favourite Mackmyra when we started off. And if you were to ask me, from the core range, it's the Svensk Rök. That was what captivated me. You used the word captivate, and it really did. But from the broader Mackmyra range, it was the Effa or Effa. I don't know how to pronounce it. The Moments range, and that's a bottle that I thought about almost non-stop for 12 years. For 12 months.
It probably felt like 12 years trying to get your hands on one. Yeah.
You've only been in business
12 months, and I needed it back in my life. From the core range is Svensk Rök. And
see, John, you got a friend.
When I started,
I missed that. What was that?
So you got a friend who likes your favorite whiskey as well, hey, in the core range. So you guys can pair up together there.
Yeah. It's we'll get there.
So I don't know what John's favorite whiskey is. I've been waiting to find out, John, at the beginning.
You two now.
Okay, when we get to that one, I'll do a little bit of an introduction, because I'll do that little story. It's not that interesting, but we're not going to oversell it and come back after these adverts. Yeah.
Well, guys, that's a review on our Brooks whiskey, our 5-year-old entry-level breakfast whiskey. Awesome notes of banana, licorice, pear, nice peppy taste on your palate, a little bit of toffee, and we have a bit of a spicy oak finish to it, but those flavors do continue.
Licorice.
You like there is a bit of licorice, definitely.
Yeah,
definitely.
On the palate more than the nose, but definitely a lot. Licorice, bananas again, citrus, pears, bit of pepper, a light bit of smoke. So I wasn't sure if there was anything peated in there, or if the smoke that I'd found was from the cask, from any charring of the casks that are being used from the expert or anything. But if there might be a bit of peat in there, then that explains.
I think there's a slight bit of a hint of peat in there, but not too much. Tiny.
Just enough to create.
Just enough not to call it peaty or smoky.
Yeah. If you don't like peated whiskey, you could love it. It hasn't got a amount of peat.
That's an amazing elegance, I reckon, and I fully agree with you. I mean, it is one of our best sellers. Every fair event we go to almost outsell this in the UK in any case. So guys, that's the Brooks whiskey from us, from Mackmyra.
Guys, shall we move on to the third one of the night?
Before we move on, we got
He's got surprises.
So not only do we do the miniatures in a gift set,
yeah.
we also do them in miniatures as well, in 5cl miniatures individually. So you can have the core range in a miniature range as well. So if you're not up for a big bottle, this is also a very good option, and also nice for a present. Just a thought.
Perfect little gift.
A bit past Christmas, but yeah, I thought stocking fillers, maybe not for the kids, but for the adults at Christmas as we get there. Father's Day, yes. It's
Father's Day. Perhaps even Mother's Day,
Valentine's.
guys. Mother's Day on the Brooks Whiskey. Definitely, I think some mothers out there who do like a whiskey would be a perfect addition to their Mother's Day presents. The Brooks Whiskey.
Well done.
Yeah.
So let's not shy away from all the ladies out there, guys.
So my mum.
So many jokes.
Smoky whiskey.
Rich, what were you saying about your mum?
Oh, sorry. You mentioned Mother's Day, so it doesn't have to be Mother's Day for a Brooks whiskey necessarily, because my mum loves smoky whiskey. So Svensk Rök for her would be the one. If I was going to give her a miniature, that would be it.
Well, definitely. I agree with you. Especially if she's into the peated, more peaty, smoky kind of stuff. Yeah, definitely. All right, so we're getting on to my favorite one now out of the core range. John, what are we up next? What's up next? Tell him.
Svensk Ek.
Svensk Ek.
Joke.
Svensk Ek, meaning to our English-speaking people, what does Svensk Ek mean, guys?
Swedish oak.
There you go.
Very subtle, just blends in. This is the one that sits on your shelf and people point at and go, "What's that?"
What's in the orange box?
It's so loud, it screams at you, and then it tells you in a little message what it is really. Swedish oak, 10% of it.
Exactly what this one is.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can.
This one is
just about get that.
Yeah.
And if you can see closely on, you'll actually see the oak lines or the tree stump itself of the Swedish oak lines. You can see the little divots in the picture over here.
I think
so again, the boxes that we do kind of tell us a story. So you'll know straight away by looking at the orange box and the oak tree stump on it that it is actually Swedish oak itself. Funny story about how we got the oak in Sweden.
Do you know, Matt,
real quick,
Matt, can I just interrupt you? I've been with the company 2 years, so has John. I've never seen that before. You sure your box is not just ripped from being in the back of a truck?
You've never noticed the oak?
You've never noticed those there, the rings on the box before? Those are the rings on the box.
Fantastic.
That's
well done.
So those are actually, so it goes hand in hand. So as you know, it's all there. But
take it, Matt.
There we go. So just a quick history regarding how we actually got the oak into Sweden. So many years ago, the Swedish royal family died out, and they had no oil, so they imported a French prince who became the Swedish king. And luckily enough, he brought some seeds through, or acorns, or oak seeds, and hey presto, Swedish oak started growing. The oak was actually mainly grown for warships at that stage to try to get a naval fleet up and running. But by the time they actually grew in the Swedish climates, warships had gone over to steel materials. So the oak just sat there. Luckily for us, we had access to that. And many moons later, we get to use it as part of our cask and our whiskey, which I think is a bit of a lucky
exceptional
bit of strike of luck, if I can say. Exceptional run of luck. The nice thing about what it is and how the whiskey comes through, it is really done in a beautiful way. We use 10% fresh virgin oak in the cask itself, which mature over a 5-year period. Again, another 5-year-old from the core range. What it does, it gives you nice peppery, spicy notes to it. You'll get a lot of butter toffee, I think, in the nose. Ginger. I pick up a bit of ginger in the taste itself. It's a beautiful, a bit of spiciness, black peppercorns. I often pick up a little bit of sandalwood in it. I don't know if you guys pick up the sandalwood.
I'm going to be honest here. I don't think I actually know what sandalwood smells of.
Well, I know what sandalwood smells of. Like we have quite a bit of sandalwood down in South Africa, like with a lot of wood down there. So I am used to the sandalwood smell, but I do pick up a lot of how can I say?
Vanilla, cedar. It's lovely.
I wouldn't say cedar, but I pick up sometimes at the back of my palate and on the sides. I pick up a bit of honey every now and then.
Yeah.
And toffee.
Honey and toffee. ripe orchard fruit.
Yeah.
I get, but then that pepper is on top of that. That's sort of more predominant, even from 10% being in Swedish oak.
Yeah.
But look,
and
what's the other 90%? 90% is bourbon, ex-bourbon casks.
And Oloroso.
Yeah, I believe so.
So have a look at the color
And
of this.
Oloroso. I'm sorry. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Look how orange it. I know the label obviously adds a tint to it, but look at the color. It's almost
Use
golden.
my,
Yeah. And the
And
reason
that's purely because of the oak itself, or the ex-bourbon cast that we use.
No, it's Swedish oak adds that coloring to it, and what it does to it gives you a profile. It gives you.
I had the wrong bottle up, guys. Idiot.
How many of you had today, John?
I don't know.
John.
Favoritism.
It was a test for the viewers. I was just seeing if they noticed.
It doesn't matter, John. It's only live.
So this coloring is essentially what you get from Swedish oak, and it adds a different taste profile to the finished product. It is absolutely superb.
So that coloring, that orange hue coloring that you get from the Swedish oak, hence the reason for the ornate bark being orange.
It's not orange. The orange is getting from the tint from the label. It's more golden. It's more honey. It's more rich tobacco color flavor. But we've also moved from 41.4 in the Brooks ABV to 46.1. So now we're more of a standard issue in terms of what our range produces, and it just seems to work better. Everyone sort of says to me in the market, why 46.1? The answer to it is because it just works really well at that level. And you'll find most of our range is at 46.1. And it's really interesting. Swedish oak is unique to us. So let's, what do you get on the nose, guys? I mean, apart from the spiciness and the pepperiness and on the taste.
Well, definitely a bit of light oakiness. I mean, you pick up the oak straight away. I do get a bit of a citrus flair to it when I do take it to the nose. But for me on the palate, it's definitely the black pepper that shines straight through it and a bit of ginger. But I do get a bit of honey at the end, like just slightly at the end that melts away.
John?
I was actually, why are you just nosy notes? I was just going to do a couple of comments. So we did have someone say it's great. They're learning Swedish as they go and learn about whiskey at the same time. So that's from Kerry. Just like doing us.
We try. We answer, please.
Thank you, Kerry. Our pronunciation's not always right, but we get in there.
Yeah, definitely.
I said rook as I called it rock for a year, well, probably 14 months or so before I was corrected.
That's what I love about that's what I love about Richard.
Yeah.
He's always ahead of the game. We haven't quite got there.
We're getting there. We're getting to one of our two peated options. We're getting there. I promise you now.
Guys, who likes this? Who likes it?
I haven't had this.
This is my favorite out of the core range, without a doubt. It's something different. It's nothing like a peated whiskey or a sweet, elegant whiskey. It's something that I've never had before when it comes down to having a 5-year-old or any whiskey, really. It's just the oakiness and the pepper notes that I get to it. It's amazing. I mean, it's just kind of in between an elegant and a peat.
Would you say it's Marmite? So is it something people would either like?
It depends if you. I don't know if it's, it kind of is a hit and miss sometimes. I think it's not for everyone's taste, but it definitely is for other people's taste. I mean, if you're not looking for something too peaty, go for this. It is a more woodier option to you. It's a bit more spicy, less sweet. So I definitely think it is sometimes a hit and miss with some of the people that do come to the stands and have us at events and stuff like that. But in general, 75% of the people who taste it love it because it is a unique tasting whiskey.
What do you think, Rich?
As to Marmite, I think this has got. I don't think this is a divisive whiskey. I think this is. It's got a lot to it. It's got a lot of complexity to it, to the nose, especially to the palate. I don't want to run the risk of talking about Scotch and things too much, but if you were somebody that's really into Highlands as a region, or the unpeated islands, so something that's big, got lots about it, big texture, mouthfeel, something like that, this could be a really good whiskey. If you haven't tried Mackmyra before, or you're thinking about trying Swedish or trying Mackmyra, this could be a really, really good one to come in. I think the Brooks has got a lot going on with it. If you're someone that wants something big, powerful, but with some subtlety to it too, this is I think a whiskey to try.
Something with difference, isn't it?
Yeah, that's basically what it is. It's a different kind of whiskey.
It is. It just adds a different complexity to what's out there. It'll be really good with a curry.
You reckon?
Yeah,
I think so. Double spice, eh? Double spice. There you go.
Can't get many curries in Italy. Is the trouble?
Can you get anything in Italy at the minute? Well,
one thing. Let's not try to go there, but everything's ticking over all right, and it's all keeping going and things. But to be honest, guys, it's been a while since I actually went back to this one, because I tend to go for my favourites these days, and I feel like I've neglected this one, and I feel quite sad about it. I'm going to have this one a little more, really, just to sit there and enjoy this. The spiciness and things. I'm always one going for peaty ones, big whiskies and things, and it really does feel that.
Do you feel
not the peat, obviously, but the spiciness and everything? Yes.
Do you feel in your mouth that it kind of butters? It kind of lingers. It's kind of
creaminess almost.
Almost like a creamy velvet taste, like sucking on chocolate almost. Like gives that same kind of texture taste to it.
Definitely.
I'm going to come back to that one tonight. I think that's
it's a surprise in a bottle, isn't it? Really, it doesn't say what it does on the label, but it really is a good surprise.
No, it is definitely something different on the market, and if you've never tried something like it, I think get yourself a bottle and try some.
Yeah, absolutely.
100% Swedish ingredients as well.
As all of our whiskies.
Full on Mackmyra, but even the wood with this one as well. It's
Swedish wood.
Really,
you can't beat it, and it's something like John. I suppose it is something uniquely Swedish. The Swedish oak. Yeah,
we're the only ones that do that.
Can I ask you a question about the Swedish oak?
Yeah.
So European. A lot of people, some people watching may know that European oak grows more slowly than American oak, and therefore the grain is not as tight. So you get more wood to liquid or distillate interaction. In Sweden, did it grow a lot more slowly because of the climate when it was taken there by this French prince?
Yeah. So I don't want to finish his story and everything, but it was always my little favourite part of it. It
was
when this wood was planted years ago for the Navy, and okay, great, we're going to have the best ships ever. And then, they finally get the telegram of just oh, your wood's ready. Oh, great. It's 1973. Because it took so long to grow in that area. And by that point, they kind of moved the ships on a bit.
So I mean, and then with it growing slowly, it's a lot more dense. If I'm not mistaken, the actual oak itself is quite a lot more dense. Yeah.
Okay.
And it gets the spiciness and the feeling of the wood from that. It's what's the word I'm looking for? It's not tannin, but it's almost the spiciness in the wood because it's so dense and so thick.
You're right. Yeah.
Tannin's not far off, though. I think that gives it some texture too, though.
Texture is the word I was
and this has got rich. Well, this is texture, and that's something that may come from tannins and different.
I have to tell you this, Rich.
It's got
we make a whiskey. We make a whiskey. It's called Gravity, and what they do is they take a bourbon cask, they cooper it down to 30 liters, and they put top and bottom on Swedish oak. So you get the bourbon cask, and then you get the spiciness. It is probably the best whiskey I've ever had from Mackmyra. It is unbelievable. You can only buy it in cask format, unfortunately, but it's if you're going to buy a 30 liter, that's the one you want.
When we did the tweet tasting, there was a sample in there, and that was phenomenal. That was probably the best one in there for me, for my team.
So the Swedish oak adds some value to the product.
Yeah. So one of the things we're also going to be looking at is probably doing cask tastings and things. I'll come on to this more at the end, but we can do private cask tastings as well as the public forums and things, and get people to have whiskey samples and things. Behind me, I can see my little collection of bottles, which are some of my cask samples, just to show them off underneath the glowing intelligence.
Thanks,
That looks really nice. Now
it's getting
a bit dark.
I need to get a few more lights and things, but I was quite happy. Sorry, go on.
do you have too much free time on your hands? Because I obviously see what you do in your free time now, because you know you're not working. Clearly, arranging lights in your.
Listen, I think we really get to that stage too, Val.
Yeah, it was arranging lights, and then I had to get Mackmyra online just so I could get some company in the evenings, which is actually what this is all about. It was just I wanted to chat. It was a long-winded approach.
Now we can chat about something we enjoy. All right, guys, that's Svensk Ek. Swedish Oak.
Yeah.
Grab yourselves a bottle, enjoy the spiciness, the aromatics of that. Beautiful whiskey. If it's something different that you don't want to compete on elegant whiskey, give it a go. All right,
while we're on the Matt, just hang on before you go. Retail price on that is early 50s. If you want something different, you want to try something different, and that's your budget, really spend the money, it's worth it.
Perfect. Talking about that, guys, most of the core range is kind of budget level, so it is affordable 5-year-old whiskey, probably more affordable than most whiskeys out there. You can go on to mackmyra.co.uk online store, John. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yeah, and
go on there, click on there, give us the range.
You can get it from us. We do want people to continue to support retailers and things. So get to your shops and things, support local retailers where you can, support them through online purchases as well. And we are here on mackmyra.co.uk in the UK and mackmyra.store over in Europe, and can purchase that way. And so you'll always be able to find Mackmyra from us. But yeah, wherever you buy a bottle, we're happy. And if you're having difficulties, then you'll always be able to find it from us, as well as our tasting packs. And also you can go on our website and buy a whole cask, which is always nice. It's just always nice. You need someone to see you through.
Guys, listen, just a quick thing, guys. Sorry, Rich. The core range never changes, so these never run out. We've always got this 24/7. So if you guys are panicking about it running out like toilet paper, don't worry. Our core range is always available.
Richard, you're going for something.
So if people want to know, we're talking about supporting local businesses and retailers and independent and bottle shops and all sorts of things. If someone wants to know where's near them that might supply something, they might have it in store if it's somewhere that they could or felt was okay to go to, or that could deliver to them. How would they find out where their nearest place was? Could they contact us and then we could let them know?
Yeah, it's there are contact forms on our website where if people are unsure, we can advise. We have our whole list. We're probably going to look at creating some lovely map app at some point to put on our website where people can say, where do you want to buy? At the moment, one of the best things, but also a little bit of a curse, is there is so many different Mackmyras. It's making sure we have the right stock level on that sort of a thing. So with all the range of whiskey and the gin that we do, we wouldn't want to guarantee it, but we'll then be able to get in touch with them, have links to web shops and things like that. But yeah, if anyone wants to know if they support, then just get in contact. All you need is postcode and we can point you where you should be able to find someone to get to. Yeah, if not, just look at whiskey shops in your area and online if you're looking at it that way. But good point, yeah.
Perfect. Nice, John. All right, so who's going to introduce us to our Smoky Pete, our little peated version, one of two? John, do you want to do the honors with this?
One of your favorites,
yes,
John?
Yeah.
Richard, John, you two are going to have to tug of war this one out.
No. I'll bring it out because
He's easy, Tiger.
Yeah. He gets the right bottle this time. He gets the bottle. This is good. So I'm going to tell the story before you guys can pour. As a little nod to Italy, I have my Milano Whiskey Festival, which I got to go to as a punter last year. So I'm going to enjoy that rather than the Mackmyra ones, but I'm sure you'll be okay with that, just me having one. This was my one that really brought me into Mackmyra. I've always been into my peated whiskies. I love all kind of, my first really time getting into whiskey was a friend and I went to Islay. And we went and learnt about it there and had a great time. And Lagavulins, the Froigs, Ardbegs, everyone knows those kind of big peat ones. And it always tended to be kind of who's got the highest parts per million, you know, the strongest, the highest level of peat and everything. And then I tried this.
Just a quick question for those that don't know. What is parts per million, by the way? For those that don't know, some of the people might know what parts per million mean, peatness and all that kind of stuff.
And just build up, and then I said peat's parts per million. Yeah. God, do I have to start again now? I'm going to become the online diva. Where was I? Anyway, so I tried this, and this was the one which, like, actually you're doing something different in peat. You know, it has a whole different flavor to it. It's something completely different. I've never found it anywhere on, and we'll go and try it now. To answer your question, parts per million is the kind of the phenolic level of which kind of a nice peaty whiskey, the kind of ones I mentioned, around kind of the 50, 60. I think I remember the world record being a Brukswhisky, which was like 228, which was the Octomore. I don't know how much you can actually taste after that in terms of the difference. It's the Scoville rating for peat, I suppose, is one way of thinking. Okay. Which then you go, what's the Scoville rating? And I go around in circles.
Thanks, John.
I was going to say about Matt.
So, you know, John, it's quite funny when you said that it brought you into the whiskey, because for me, when I tasted it, I was at a Bristol show, and it's the first time I tasted it, and it was also the one out of the range that kind of went, hang on a minute, these guys have got something, and that's kind of why I joined as well. It was this exact product, yeah.
So Svensk Rök is our peated whiskey. We do things a little differently, and you can really taste it. You guys are just sampling it in the background there with me. So we do all the floor malting and the smoking on site, which is really kind of something that's unique these days. There's not many distilleries that do that. We have a little 40-foot shipping container. So they come different sizes of 40-foot. We have a shipping container on the side. We put our peat in, and we do our own smoking. Who's going to mention the thing on the box first? Or is this the first time that Shane's seen this one?
No. The first time you've seen this one? Okay, let me scroll it down.
You know,
so
you do something once, and never let you forget it, do they?
Yeah. Oh, no, see, we're getting a bit too comfortable with the cameras now.
Yeah, we're getting too good.
I can't go down. Yeah. So juniper twigs go into this as well, and it's great because the festivals we'd occasionally be doing gin festivals or alongside, and people would come in, and we get the gin people coming in and go, I'm not really keen on whiskey. We put juniper in that. It's like, yes, but you're the only guys that ever mention it.
Yeah.
But they really pick up on the juniper. And it's always been a favourite at festivals for the people who come up and just, you know, we get traditionalists, and I only drink Scotch. It has to be Scottish. You've got one whiskey to give me, and I'll decide if I'm ever going to try world whiskey again.
And it has to be peat.
Yeah,
and what happens, John? And what happens 9 times out of 10?
They're the ones who go, "Oh my god, that's great," and then they bring their mate back, and then they're hanging around at the end,
and you're trying to get rid of them.
Yeah, not that we ever would.
Not that we don't do that, Shane. We'd love them to say and buy
every moment.
While you're on the subject, John, I'm going to go back to the history of it because it's quite interesting. So in 2009, they commissioned the build of the vertical distillery known as the gravity-fed distillery. If you look behind Matt, there's actually a picture of it. Matt, can you just point at it? No, the other side. Move away a little bit. Other side. Yeah.
So that could go on for 5 minutes. This would be great.
Yeah. So that's that's a gravity-fed distillery, and it was the first in the world. So on the site, we've built a visitor center now, so people can come and visit the site and go to the distillery. We've got the malting and we've got the peating on site, so you can actually see us doing it.
Can they get involved when they go see the site?
Yeah. It has to be prearranged, but they can do. So the production was moved from 2009, once the distillery was built in 2012, to the new distillery. And to keep consistency, they piped the water from the old distillery to the new distillery, so the consistency is there with the new products. And I think, you know, that just shows the commitment Mackmyra has to keeping the products consistent with what they started with. And And it's really worth seeing. It's 35 meters high. It has a bar at the top, as Matt has mentioned. It's the first in the world, and it's run by biofuels, which is quite something. We also save 45% less on electricity and 45% less on manpower running this distillery.
One of these days, we're going to have to get one of the guys from the distillery in, because I was there a couple of months ago, and they took me through the whole energy efficiency side of it. And I know brewing, I know distillation, okay, but then there's all these other levels to it. Wow, of just the closed system. My favorite one was finding out, so stills, usually gas fired, traditionally actually wood fired is the way they did it, and things like that. And then you've also got steam firing that's coming in, so you heat the water and do that. We don't do that. We pressurize the water, heat that, and that gets it up to over 125 degrees, but it's still liquid. And then we pass it by everything that's in the still. And so it's actually water fired, but it can't be. But some physicists will tell me that one. Yeah. So because it's pressurized, the water can go up.
The future
when you pressurize it, it goes. You can take it above 100 degrees Celsius. Does that make sense?
Wow.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, and it's just something that I had never read about or seen, and it was just like, that's awesome. Yeah. So they actually have. It's not steam that's driving it. It's a consistent down to the 0.1 degree that's being computer monitored to make sure it stays exactly that temperature.
That temperature, so it's constant the whole time.
Yeah, and so they can adjust it as necessary. But it's some physicists will tell me the exact word, but it's still a liquid. So I'm not sure if water can still be water if it's above 125 degrees. As far as I'm concerned, it can be. And that's how that type works. We're digressing. We need to go into this in a whole episode.
So guys, the difference between the bottle sizes, John, Jane, why is the Svensk Rök smaller? What's the reason?
Shane's having a sip. Small batch, everything done on site to keep the price where it needs to be, 500 ml. It's all
handmade. So all the peaking is done on site. It's all held by hand. It's all done by men. It's all monitored, and it takes a lot more time to make the final product. So hence
it is the traditional way, turning the malt, having to look after it. I think the process takes like 5 to 7 days or so for them to do.
So it's almost like an artisanal but slow kind of way of doing the peat, right? And smoking the malt. You
can't do it any less, I don't think. Any there's no machine to get rid of. It's a pipe and a fire or whatever and
it's time consuming.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, all right. No, that's fine. That's good.
John, can I ask you a question? Mm-hmm. Can I ask you a question? Why do we add juniper into the process? Is it about Scandinavian tradition, or is there another reason?
We don't add juniper into it. We add juniper twigs.
So juniper branches into the peating process, though, right?
Yeah. So that's the traditional way that meat is smoked.
Sorry, forget. Yeah, so the juniper branches go into the peating process, though. That's my understanding.
So they burn peat and branches on top.
Why do we do that? Is it just Scandinavian tradition, or is there another reason for it, or are we trying to just keep a bit of heritage from Sweden and thousands of years of history, or what?
Yeah, shall I take this? So it is how things are smoked, how meats are smoked, and so it's the same.
Like smoke curing process, with curing.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the nod to that side of things. Juniper is about everywhere. It grows in the wild, and so it's something they use to just add a bit of flavour to it. And they work with this, and it really worked with the whiskey. But for me, barbecue, wood smoke.
I get it. Like I always every time the first time I tried the Svensk Rök when I first met you guys last year sometime when we did the One Whiskey Festival up in St. Albans. The first time I had it, it reminded me off the bat of just sitting around a bonfire or a campfire and like just out in the stars, kind of that whole smell, the whole flavor profile. It just reminds me of just being outdoors under the stars with the campfire, and that's what I kind of got. I kind of got in the bottle itself in the first taste, and first time I actually had it.
It's more smoky than it is peaty, and that's really a unique selling point. So people who are coming into peat, again, being the core range, it's an entry level. It's such a nice way to get into peat. People who don't traditionally drink peat will like this because it's more smoky than it is peaty. And going into colder seasons, so in Christmas time, this is an absolute winner. And something else I was going to tell you about, I can't remember it now, but
usually at this point you mentioned B.
I was going to come on to it.
Yeah, which
Shay's favorite.
I've got a little bit up there. I think,
So Rick, you won't know about this. So one of the things I do when I get sick is I take 2 tots of the B, and then I add 1 tot of the Svensk Rök, and then I add a slice of lemon, and it is absolutely lovely. Absolutely lovely. Okay. Unplayable. It's like a hot
people in the know to buy this.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I tried the B.
You're so right, John.
Our training a few weeks ago. I tried the B in our training a few weeks ago, and I thought it was delicious. I thought it was so good, and I didn't think I'd like it. It didn't.
It's that and that.
I haven't tried many drinks in that profile before. I've enjoyed, but that was delicious. That was really good. So, what did you say your recipe was? You have two. Was it 2 parts B?
Yeah, 1 part Rök.
Yeah.
And then a slice of lemon. Yeah.
Okay.
And you drink it like that, and it is unplayable. So John and I started some of the shows we've been to. We started giving the ladies it. We had a queue of women at one of the shows we went to. It is absolutely.
Because usually we get the people who have turned up and I don't drink whiskey.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's all right. We have the perfect thing.
Yeah, we have something for you.
It's just like you're drinking a peated whiskey with a whiskey liqueur, honey liqueur.
Yeah, a double whiskey liqueur.
Really, essentially, but it's a winner.
I think an important question: where do people get hold of the B? Where can people get hold of B? I mean, we've mentioned it now, so we may as well tell people a little bit about it. What is it? Where can they buy it?
Well, B is a whiskey liqueur that's made from 2 wild honeys that we actually cultivate and get from Sweden itself. I think the one's an elderflower honey, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Lingonberry,
the other one I'm not doing in lingonberry, and then we basically make the liqueur itself out of the whiskey that we make. It's really nice. You can get it at Stockers or online. Again, guys, it's mackmyra.co.uk or the EU link. John will put it up on the bottom, and I'm sure it shows up on the YouTube channel. So guys are interested in taking a look at it. It's there, and take a look at the other 18+ whiskeys we've created already. But we'll get onto some of those whiskeys in later programs and later installments of Mackmyra Live.
We've forgotten about the Rök. Can we go back to it? Can we talk about this?
This is not my favorite part of the department of the core range. I think I'm going to leave it up to Richard and John to waffle away about this. I've already done my Svensk Ek.
Are you sure?
I've done Svensk Ek.
I'm going to give us a chance to talk. Thanks, Matt.
Sorry. It's because I'm wearing a white shirt. Yeah.
This is one of my favourite. It's my favourite from the core range, and I really like the core range. Anywhere from the Mack that's 3 years old up to where we are now. But the Svensk Rök, to call it, I hope correctly. This is my favourite one. Yep. You mentioned about campfire in the rain, or not campfire in the rain, sorry, that's what I was going to say. But you mentioned campfire in the stars, or just you're sort of out at night. For me, it's not. There's like a wetness or a dampness to the smoke, but that just adds another element to its character or its profile that I've not had in other smoky or peaty whiskies. And there's like tobacco leaves and maybe a little bit of like light cigar.
Yeah, tobacco, definitely rich.
Yeah, I do get a bit of anisette as well from time to time when I do taste it. I get that pick
a bit on the palate.
Yeah, just on the back of the palate.
Do you know what I get? I get forest. I get pine, needles, acorns. It just it screams forest to me. It's
to me. pork barbecue. It always has.
Oh,
been.
bacon, smoky bacon, smoky bacon.
Smoky. That's all it is. I never got around to actually putting it on a barbecue. I always thought you could make a fantastic marinade.
Well, I
was
about to say marinade some food in this, that would be unbelievable.
With a bit of a smoky taste to it, definitely. I think with a bit of salmon, like a nice little cream, smoky whiskey sauce with the salmon, I think that would go down exceptionally well. Definitely. Or an alternative, a whiskey cheesecake with a bit of a smooth, like smokiness to it. You never know.
Or South Africans, they're a weird bunch.
Look who's talking. No, but Rich, I think definitely marinating a steak. I think in this overnight would probably be exceptionally good. I think when someone does eventually visit us again, I'm going to do it. I think it's a great idea. John.
So guys, before we move on, 46.1% ABV. Retails around the £48 mark. It is exceptionally good value for money. If you like something that is a little bit peaty, but more smoky than is peaty, it's unique, it's different. Svensk Rök, Swedish smoke.
Thank you, Squire.
All right, so I'm going to take over for a bit.
Of course you can.
I'm allowed to. You sure, Matt?
You sure, Matt? We're okay, Matt.
It's been a long day making. It's been a long day in
Brighton.
Brighton, guys.
I blame you for this, John. You trained him.
I never got round to it. I've moved to that point. Shall we just do a quick recap of what we've had tonight, and then we're just going to grab our final. We had a bit of a decision beforehand of which one we'd like to finish on, and then we'll just have a chat about what we're doing here and say goodnight to everyone. So we started with Mac. If I hold up this one, we can do one of each. Actually, no. If you grab one, So Mac, see who grabs what. It's this is whiskey, rock, paper, scissors. Brooks. You go. So Brooks. We started with Mac, 40%. Lovely banana toffee notes, entry level into Mackmyra. A great whiskey to have on the shelf. Great cocktails you can do with it. Really approachable. A nice one to give people as just a first one, first kind of dram of the evening and things like that. And you can pick that one up. It's available all over the country and things, as well as on our website. Let us hand over to, we did the next one. So Shane.
Brooks, the breakfast whiskey, 5-year-old single malt, 41.4%, 95.5 in the Whiskey Bible. Beautiful, elegant, soft, everything that is Swedish. Easy drinking, mix as well. Really good value for money, early 40s, ready available most places. Otherwise online, as John was saying, .co.uk. Good value for money, guys. Svensk Ek.
And on to Matt.
Svensk Ek, Swedish Oak, one of a kind Swedish tasting luxury whiskey, a 5-year-old. Guys, amazing if you like something that's not too peaty or not too sweet, spicy notes, peppery, beautiful way, something different in the whiskey industry.
Retail, Matt, early 50s.
Early 50s retail, guys. Online, like mackmyra.co.uk.
And finally, Richard.
Svensk Rök. Rook, not rock, but Svensk Rök.
Nailed it.
Yeah, smashed it. Svensk Rök. Something Swedish, all Swedish ingredients. All of the peated malt is prepared at our own distillery. We do that all ourselves and on site. Notes, so we talked about tobacco leaves, like cigar smoke, but smokier rather than peatier. So if you're someone that isn't a bigger fan of like the medicinal peats and things like that, this could be a good one for you. But even if you are, and you're therefore someone that likes lots of big flavors and things like this, this is a really good whiskey for you or for someone that likes that sort of thing. 50 cl, 46.1%, in the high 40s, low 50s, depending where you're going.
Correct.
And this is my favourite of the core. What we've gone through today, I've enjoyed all four that we talked about. But this is it,
So we'll finish on that because usually we would have chat going. If you want to put your whiskey down, but you might be picking it up again. I thought we'd just raise our favourite of the night just between the four of us. We'd usually we'll be looking at going to the chat and finding out kind of how it's gone with these things. But everyone got their favourite to hand.
Is there a drum roll function?
Not yet. No, we'll add that. We'll add that. Okay, 3, 2, 1.
We'll add
3, 2, 1. Oh.
Go.
Oh.
Who knew? Who would have guessed?
Every time we do a tasting, John,
for me.
Yeah.
Every single time we do a tasting, it comes out tops. Svensk Rök.
I have my unpeated glass. It is behind me. I'm going to unplug a second. If anyone wants to say what we're doing.
No, please don't ask.
Have you all got your whiskies? Yeah. Say what we're doing on that last one.
Shane, you go for this. It's you.
Okay, so guys, on the 5th of March, we released a new whiskey to the world. It is called Groentetea, which means green tea. In Dutch, Groentetea. It is green tea cask finish. What we do is we take 4 teas from Japan. We made them into liqueur, put it in a cask for 19 months, then took the liqueur out and put the whiskey in it. The whiskey we used is aged between 8 and 16 years old. And then we bottled and released it to the market. It is superb. First time in the world that's ever been done. Groente is worth trying, guys. Over to you, John.
Yes. So, as I said, we're just going to use this one. Probably not go into it too much, but just enjoy ones between the four of us. And I'm just going to talk about what we're looking at doing here. So, as I said, this is our very first tasting that we are doing live. Obviously, at the moment, it is kind of difficult times. We have all of our brand ambassadors, all of our sales guys, everyone, and a big part of what we like doing is actually get out and chatting with people and telling them about whiskey. It is always nice to have this whiskey, about all the time. Sometimes takes up a little too much space, but that's an issue we still have to get over. But it's very nice just going out and seeing people in events, at tastings, doing masterclasses and stuff like that. And, at the current situation, that's proving especially difficult. And so we've come up with this method. We're kitting out all of our guys with some new microphones, lights, giving them backdrops and things. We've moved ahead with this really quickly, so things have started arriving. I think we've got our microphones. I've got a bit more of a studio setup and things, but we're getting there. And we're
some fancy lights, John.
I have. This will be more. Yes, this will be more. Just you wait. It's full on is going to be coming. And so not only in the UK are we doing this, the team in Germany are going to be starting theirs tomorrow night at 5 p.m. European time. The guys in Sweden are going to be starting events as well. And so you'll be able to tune in with their ones. They're selling theirs through tickets events because it's Sweden, just to the laws. So just check on the mackmyra.se if you're interested in looking at the Swedish language ones. They'll be coming in native languages. We're also going to look at teaming up with the different ones. So we'll try and get the guys from Germany and Sweden to come on to ours, chat with the brand ambassadors, role reversal and things. We're going to be turning up onto their ones, trying things as best we can, virtual distillery tours. We're going to get one guy with a camera to be going around, and perhaps Patrick over in Sweden doing a whole tasting. Going to get people like Angela, our master blender, Magnus on, and people. And really, we want people to engage with us. Hopefully, we're going to have a schedule up. We will have a schedule up, and hopefully people are going to join us, have a bit of fun, communication on chat. To get started, we started the classic tasting pack, of which is the 4 that Shane had earlier, as well as the glass and the special gifts that you'll be getting with that. So check out for that. We'll be getting that to retailers as well soon, which is great. And you can do exactly what we've done tonight with engagement, and we'll probably reverse the order of what we're doing. And we're going to try and make each show different, focus on different whiskies, maybe just have an evening on just green tea and things like that. There's probably going to be
or a seasonal release, maybe. We've got a couple of seasonals we can touch on.
Yeah, we're going to hopefully come up some packs for seasonals as well. So there'll be a miniature pack for seasonal and the moments of people wanting to try the higher end of our kind of tasting ones. It's everything you would have at festivals, masterclasses, and our store events and things, but as we move to that, people are going to be able to just enjoy it this way. And yeah, I think it's been quite good fun. It is our first one. I think we've had a bit of a laugh tonight.
It's been a bit nerve-wracking, a bit of a laugh, but guys, and to the public out there, guys, thanks for bearing with us for our first live stream. I think for all four of us, it was a bit nervousing, but I think the drams definitely helped. And I'm sure the guys in Sweden and Germany will agree when they start doing their live shows that it's
I know, I cannot wait to watch. It's
I know,
nice
I can't
pass the baton and see how they get on. So, guys, I'm going to say thank you to all. I'm going to close the show and things and say good night to you all. We're just going to sit in the background and I'll probably chat with you afterwards once we're out.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, everyone out there. Appreciate it.
Richard,
cheers,
Shane,
guys.
I'm going to go on.
Cheers, guys.
And finally, Matt. So, yeah, thank you all for turning up. Unfortunately, we didn't have the chat working tonight. That's something we're going to work on. But we seen you could actually see us on there, and hopefully you've enjoyed this. As I said, we're going to make these a lot more interactive. We want them to be tastings so we can taste along with us, and we'll be providing everything. Support retailers and online shops. We'd love for you to go out and buy a bottle of Mackmyra, but difficult times, you know, it is just anything you can do to help people move along with these things is going to be great. We've always got our stores at mackmyra.co.uk and mackmyra.store over in Europe available if you do want to purchase things. Those people with, you know, retailers, friends and family and things like that, feel free to get in touch. We'd love to do private sessions, whiskey tastings with groups. If you've got people you can't meet up anymore, we'll happily, you know, organize. We can manage the logistics of actually getting some samples here and things. We can turn up, get a couple of your members as on guests on the show. It's all just run through a browser and things like that. So that's absolutely perfect. But yeah, it's been good fun. We think it's been rewarding to get over and done with the first one. But thank you all for turning up, and I will catch you again on the next one. And I hope you've had a good time. Thank you very much.